Have you ever watched someone lie, cheat, and manipulate their way to success while you've been trying to do everything right and you're still struggling? Maybe it's a corrupt boss who got promoted while treating people terribly. Maybe it's an ex who destroyed your trust and is now living their best life on social media. Maybe it's a billionaire who built their empire on exploitation and environmental destruction, and they're still thriving at 90 years old, surrounded by luxury, never facing consequences. And you think to yourself, where's the karma? If karma is real, why aren't they suffering? Why do bad people seem to win? I know that feeling. That burning sense of injustice that makes you question everything you believe about fairness, about the universe, about whether being a good person even matters. Today, I'm going to share something with you that might frustrate you at first, but I promise, if you stay with me, it will set you free. Because the truth is, instant karma is a myth. The Buddha never promised it, and understanding why might be the most liberating thing you learn this year. But before we dive in, if this topic resonates with you, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This is part of our ongoing series on karma, and we're building a community of people who want to understand these ancient teachings deeply, not just on a surface level. And if you've been struggling with this question of delayed justice, drop a comment below and tell me about it. Sometimes just naming the frustration helps. All right, let's go deep. So let's start with why we're so obsessed with instant karma in the first place. We live in a culture that loves immediate gratification. We want our food delivered in 30 minutes, our streaming shows available immediately, our text messages answered right away. And somewhere along the way, we started applying that same expectation to cosmic justice. We want karma to work like a cosmic vending machine. Put in a bad action, get out instant punishment. Put in a good action, get out instant reward. Clean, simple, satisfying. Social media has made this even worse. We've all seen those videos, right? Instant karma compilation, where someone cuts someone off in traffic and immediately crashes their car, or a thief gets caught seconds after stealing. We watch these videos and feel this rush of satisfaction. Finally, justice served hot and fresh. But here's what we're missing. Those videos show the exceptions, not the rule. They go viral precisely because instant karma is rare enough to be shocking. If it happened all the time, it wouldn't be interesting content. The problem is, we've started using karma as a form of wishful thinking. When someone hurts us, we comfort ourselves with thoughts like, "Don't worry, karma will get them." We're not actually interested in understanding how karma works. We're just looking for emotional revenge by proxy. We want the universe to punish people we can't or won't punish ourselves. And every day that goes by without seeing that person suffer feels like proof that the universe is broken, that justice is a lie, that maybe being good doesn't matter after all. But what if I told you that this entire framework is based on a misunderstanding of what the Buddha actually taught? In the Anguttara Nikaya, one of the foundational Buddhist texts, the Buddha described 4 types of karma based on when they ripen, not if they ripen, when. He talked about actions that bear fruit in this very life, actions that bear fruit in the next life, actions that bear fruit in subsequent lives, and actions whose results appear gradually over time. Notice what he didn't say? He didn't say karma works instantly. He didn't promise that bad people get punished quickly, or that good people get rewarded immediately. Let me tell you a story that really illuminates this. There was a wealthy merchant in ancient India who refused to give food to a starving monk who came to his door. The monk wasn't angry, he simply moved on. The merchant lived another 40 years, growing richer and richer, seemingly without consequence. People in the village would point to him and say, "See? Karma is fake. He turned away a holy man and nothing happened." But the Buddha explained that this man's current wealth was the ripening of generosity he'd practiced in previous lives. That wealth was running out like water from a tank, and with each act of greed and hardness in this life, he was ensuring that his next life would be one of profound lack and hunger. The karma was real. The timeline was just longer than a single human lifespan. This brings us to something the Buddha taught that most people don't talk about. The truth is that karma operates on time scales we can't fully perceive. In the Majjhima Nikaya, he actually warned against trying to figure out the exact karmic accounting of why someone suffers or prospers. He called it one of the unconjecturables, one of the questions that can literally drive you insane if you try to puzzle it out with your limited human perspective. Why? Because you're trying to understand a movie that's been playing for countless lifetimes by looking at a single frame. You simply don't have the vantage point. Think about it this way. Imagine you walk into a theater halfway through a film. On screen, someone is being arrested and taken to jail. You think, "Wow, that person must be terrible. They deserve this punishment." But what you didn't see was the first hour of the movie, where that person was actually a hero trying to save innocent people from a corrupt system, and they're being falsely imprisoned by the real villains. You judged the entire story based on one scene. That's exactly what we do when we look at someone's current life and make assumptions about their karma. The Dalai Lama has spoken about this beautifully. He teaches that we should never confuse temporary success with ultimate outcome. He says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that a person may gain the whole world through harmful means, but they have poisoned their own consciousness. They carry that poison into every moment, every relationship, every future existence. What looks like winning on the outside is often slow-motion self-destruction on the inside. Let me give you a modern example to make this real. There's a CEO who built enormous wealth through exploitation, underpaying workers, destroying the environment, crushing competitors through unethical means. They're 85 years old now, still wealthy, still powerful, seemingly untouched by consequences. Where's the karma, right? But here's what you don't see from the outside. The Buddha taught about 4 factors that determine how karma ripens, and they all apply here. First, there's intention. The CEO's intention was selfish gain. That creates a certain quality of karmic seed, bitter, toxic. Second, there's intensity. This wasn't a one-time mistake in a moment of weakness. It was systematic, calculated harm over decades. The karmic weight of that is immense. Third, there's repetition. The same harmful patterns, day after day, year after year, compounding like interest. And fourth, there's the field of recipients. How many people were harmed? Thousands of workers, entire communities, ecosystems. Each one of those creates karmic consequence. Now, what you also don't see is the quality of that person's inner life. The Buddha taught that harmful actions don't just create external consequences, they fundamentally corrupt the mind that commits them. Someone who spent their whole life in greed and exploitation doesn't develop the capacity for genuine peace, trust, or joy. They're trapped in constant anxiety about losing what they have, paranoid about others betraying them the way they've betrayed others, unable to form authentic relationships because they see everyone as either a resource or a threat. The Zen master Dogen wrote, To study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. But someone living in harmful patterns is trapped in the smallest, most suffocating version of self. That's already karma manifesting, even if it doesn't look like punishment from the outside. And then there's the karma they're creating for future lives. In the Dhammapada, the Buddha gave this powerful image. Harmful actions are like poison that tastes sweet going down, but kills you slowly. The merchant eats the poisoned feast, enjoying every bite, not realizing the toxin is already working through his system. By the time the effects become visible, it's too late to undo the action. The CEO's wealth and power in this life might be the last good karma from previous lives running out. Everything they're doing now is planting seeds for future suffering. There's this incredible teaching in the Lonaphala Sutta, sometimes called the Salt Crystal Sutra, where the Buddha uses a metaphor that completely changed how I understand this. He says, imagine you take a crystal of salt and put it in a small cup of water. The water becomes so salty you can't drink it, right? Now imagine you take that same crystal of salt and put it in the Ganges River. Would you even taste it? No. The salt is exactly the same. What changed is the water, the context. Your negative karma is the salt. Your positive karma, your virtue, your spiritual development, that's the water. When you cultivate goodness, wisdom, and compassion, you become like that vast river. The negative karma is still there, it hasn't disappeared, but its impact is diluted. You experience it in a much lighter form. Now flip that around. Someone who does terrible things but has good karma left over from previous lives, they're like a river that's slowly drying up. Right now, the salt doesn't affect the taste much because there's still a lot of water. But with each harmful action, the river shrinks. Eventually, there's no water left, only salt. And that's when the suffering becomes overwhelming. This is why bad people can seem to prosper. You're seeing them while the river still has water. You're not seeing the karmic equation over lifetimes. The Buddha was very clear about this. Karma doesn't operate on human timelines or human logic. It operates on the natural law of cause and effect, which unfolds according to conditions, not according to our desire for immediate justice. There's a Zen story I love that illustrates this perfectly. A monk was imprisoned by a brutal dictator's regime. He was tortured, kept in terrible conditions, watching other prisoners die around him. Someone asked him through the bars, "Don't you hate the dictator? Don't you curse his karma? Don't you want to see him punished?" And the monk said something profound. He said, "If I spend my time hating him, then he controls my mind even in this cell. If I spend my time waiting for his karma to catch up with him, I've wasted my life watching for his downfall instead of cultivating my own freedom. His karma is his burden to carry. My freedom is mine to cultivate." This is the teaching that most people miss when they talk about karma. The goal isn't to watch other people suffer. The goal isn't to find satisfaction in cosmic revenge. The goal is your own liberation. And here's the paradox. As long as you're obsessed with seeing bad people punished, you're creating negative karma for yourself. Why? Because that obsession is rooted in ill will, in anger, in the desire to see others in pain. Even if that pain would be deserved, the emotion itself poisons your mind. The Buddha taught in the Dhammapada, "Hatred never ceases by hatred, but by love alone is healed. This is an ancient and eternal law." When you sit around thinking, "I can't wait for karma to get them," you're cultivating hatred. You're watering seeds of anger in your own consciousness. And guess what? That creates karma. Your karma, not theirs. You're literally making your own life worse by obsessing over their perceived lack of consequences. Thich Nhat Hanh taught something that really helps with this. He said that when you truly understand that the person causing harm is also suffering, trapped in ignorance, creating terrible karma for themselves, living in a prison of their own greed and hatred, you can actually have compassion for them. Not because you excuse what they did, not because you pretend it wasn't harmful, but because you see that they're destroying themselves, and that's already a form of suffering, even if it doesn't look the way you want it to look. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds like spiritual bypassing. This sounds like you're saying we should just accept injustice and do nothing. And that's absolutely not what I'm saying. The Buddha never taught that we should be passive in the face of harm. In fact, he taught the opposite. One of the core principles of the Eightfold Path is right action, taking ethical action in the world, protecting those who are vulnerable, standing up against systems of oppression. But there's a huge difference between taking action from a place of wisdom and compassion versus taking action from a place of revenge and anger. There's a difference between working for justice because you want to reduce suffering in the world versus working for justice because you want to see specific people punished. One creates positive karma. The other creates negative karma, even if the external actions look similar. Here's a teaching that might blow your mind. The Buddha actually taught about a fourth type of action in the Anguttara Nikaya. He talked about actions that are neither dark nor bright, that lead neither to dark results nor bright results. He called these actions that lead to the ending of action. These are the actions of someone who's walking the path toward liberation. What does that mean practically? It means acting without attachment to outcomes. It means doing what's right because it's right, not because you're trying to accumulate good karma or avoid bad karma, or see someone else get what they deserve. A liberated being still experiences karma ripening from past actions. If they did harmful things in previous lives before awakening, those consequences still manifest. But they're not creating new karma because their actions come from wisdom and compassion, not from craving or aversion. They've stepped out of the whole game of karmic accumulation. And here's what's beautiful. You can start practicing this right now. You don't have to wait until you're fully enlightened. Every time you choose to let go of the need to see someone punished, you're practicing liberation. Every time you take ethical action because it's right, rather than because you'll be rewarded, you're practicing liberation. Every time you have compassion for someone causing harm instead of hatred, you're practicing liberation. These moments are training. They're building the spiritual muscle that eventually leads to freedom from the whole cycle of karma. The Vietnamese Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh, used to teach his students a practice he called beginning anew. When someone had hurt you, instead of holding on to resentment, you would approach them with openness and share how their actions affected you, but from a place of wanting to understand and heal, not from a place of wanting them to suffer. He taught that this practice transforms the karma of the situation immediately. You're not waiting for the universe to punish them. You're taking responsibility for your own peace by addressing harm directly with wisdom. Now let's talk about something that might be hard to hear, but is incredibly important. Sometimes we're so focused on other people's apparent lack of consequences because we're avoiding looking at our own karma. It's easier to point at the corrupt billionaire and say, "Why aren't they suffering?" than it is to examine our own lives and ask, what karma am I creating right now? What patterns am I stuck in? what harm might I be causing that I'm not seeing? The Buddha taught that before you try to remove the speck from your brother's eye, you should remove the log from your own eye. In other words, work on your own purification first. And here's why this matters for the question of instant karma. When you're deeply engaged in your own spiritual practice, when you're actively working on cultivating wisdom and compassion and letting go of harmful patterns, the question of when other people will face consequences naturally falls away. It stops mattering. Not because you don't care about justice, but because you realize that justice is already built into the fabric of reality. Karma is a law of nature, like gravity. You don't need to watch anxiously to make sure gravity is still working. There's a teaching in Tibetan Buddhism about how enlightened masters view karma. They see someone doing harmful actions the way you might see a child touching a hot stove. You don't feel vengeful toward the child, you feel compassion. You know they're about to get burned, and you wish you could protect them from that pain. But they have to learn through their own experience. The master sees the person creating negative karma and thinks, "Oh no, you're going to suffer terribly because of this. I wish I could help you see what you're doing to yourself." There's no satisfaction in watching the consequences unfold, only sadness at unnecessary suffering. Let me share one more story that really brings this home. There was a famous incident in the life of the Buddha himself. His cousin, Devadatta, became jealous of the Buddha's following and tried multiple times to kill him, rolling a boulder down a mountain, sending a mad elephant to trample him, poisoning his food. All these attempts failed. People asked the Buddha, "Why don't you curse Devadatta? Why don't you use your powers to punish him?" And the Buddha said something extraordinary. He said, "Devadatta is already creating such terrible karma for himself. Why would I add to his suffering? Instead, I will continue to wish for his eventual awakening." Now, Devadatta didn't face instant karma. He lived for many more years, continued to cause problems, seemed to prosper in some ways by creating his own following. But the Buddha knew something others didn't. He could see the karmic consequences that were building, the suffering Devadatta was creating for himself in future lives. And the Buddha's response wasn't to accelerate that suffering. It was to maintain compassion, to keep the door open for Devadatta's eventual transformation. This is the level of understanding we're aiming for. Not, when will karma get them? But, how can I respond to this situation with wisdom and compassion while maintaining my own peace? Because here's the ultimate truth. Your peace of mind is not dependent on bad people suffering. Your freedom is not dependent on seeing justice served in the timeline you want. Your liberation is available right now, in this moment, regardless of what anyone else is doing or experiencing. The Buddha taught in his final words, "All conditioned things are impermanent. Strive on with diligence." Everything changes. The person who seems to be winning now will not be winning forever. The wealth accumulated through harm will crumble. The power built on exploitation will fall. The reputation maintained through lies will be exposed. Not because you wished for it, not because you waited for it, but because that's the nature of reality. Everything based on delusion and craving is inherently unstable. It falls apart on its own timeline. Your job is not to watch for that collapse. Your job is to build something real in your own life. Genuine virtue, authentic compassion, true wisdom. These are the things that can't be taken away, that create lasting peace, that lead to liberation. These are the things that matter infinitely more than seeing someone else's downfall. So what do we do with all this? How do we actually live with this understanding? First, when you notice yourself obsessing over someone who seems to be getting away with harmful actions, pause. Notice what's happening in your own mind. Notice the anger, the resentment, the desire for revenge. Just notice it without judgment. That's mindfulness. Then ask yourself, is this thought making me more peaceful or less peaceful? Is this helping me or hurting me? The answer will be obvious. Second, redirect that energy. Instead of thinking, when will karma get them? Ask, what positive karma can I create today? Instead of waiting for someone else to fail, focus on how you can succeed in living ethically. Instead of wishing suffering on others, practice generating compassion. It's hard at first. It might feel impossible when someone has really hurt you, but it's a practice, and it gets easier with repetition. Third, trust the process without attachment to seeing it unfold. The Buddha was very clear. Karma is real. Cause and effect is a fundamental law of existence. You don't need to see it with your eyes to trust it. You don't need proof in the form of someone's downfall. Their karma will ripen when conditions are right. Your job is to work on your karma, your consciousness, your freedom. And finally, remember what the Buddha taught. The ultimate goal is not good karma versus bad karma. The ultimate goal is to transcend karma altogether, to act from such wisdom and compassion that you're no longer caught in the cycle of action and reaction, cause and effect. You're free, and that freedom is available to you right now. If you stop waiting for the world to conform to your idea of justice and start cultivating peace in your own heart. Look, I get it. This teaching is hard. When you've been hurt, when you've watched people prosper through cruelty, when you've tried so hard to do the right thing and it feels like nobody notices or cares, the desire for instant karma is natural. It's human. But it's also a trap. It keeps you bound to the very people and situations you want to be free from. Every moment you spend thinking about their karma is a moment you're not free. Every ounce of energy you pour into wishing for their downfall is energy stolen from your own growth. The liberation the Buddha taught isn't about waiting for the universe to balance some cosmic scale. It's about realizing right now, in this moment, that you can be free regardless of what anyone else is doing or experiencing. You can be at peace even when justice seems delayed. You can be compassionate even toward those who cause harm. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to live in a mind that's not poisoned by hatred. So here's my challenge to you. For the next week, every time you catch yourself thinking, karma will get them, or they'll get what's coming to them, pause, take 3 breaths, and then consciously choose a different thought. Maybe it's, I release my need to see their suffering. Maybe it's, I trust that karma works beyond what I can see. Maybe it's simply, I choose peace over revenge. Do this practice every single time the thought arises. Watch what happens to your peace of mind. And if you found value in this teaching, if it challenged you or gave you a new perspective, do 2 things for me. First, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We're building something special here, a community that's willing to look at these ancient teachings deeply and apply them to real life. And second, share this video with someone who might be struggling with this question. Maybe someone who's been hurt and is waiting for karma to make it right. Maybe someone who's lost faith because bad people seem to win. This teaching could be exactly what they need to hear. Drop a comment and tell me, has there been a time when you struggled with delayed karma? When you wanted instant justice and didn't get it? How did you handle it? I read every comment, and your stories help build this community. Remember, instant karma is a myth, but ultimate karma is a law. Your freedom doesn't depend on seeing it manifest. Your freedom is already here, waiting for you to claim it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.